So today I'm gonna stay for 2 hours here. Put the alarm. So I decided to create a project with all the visualization stuff that I did so far, because of the problem I was getting with the making it work with these two files. I decided that this would be a good time to create this project, because I could find a way to bypass that if I wanted. The problem where this CSS in JS wasn't loading because it was part of the side packages in Anaconda, and they were on PyV's library. So Chrome was blocking them. I could make it work and bypass that, figure out a way to bypass that. But I decided it would be a lot better to just start my own project now and modify the PyV's library with the stuff that I want, and put these files into the templates. And that way, then I'm not getting that I tried and it seems to work, where I'm not getting the same message again. And I've also organized this in a better way. I put the graphs here, and then I created the settings file. I'm not sure. Oh, I put it outside of the project, so I could use on other folders. And I also had to do the setup file here to make this module work, because in Python, when you're not importing from a standard library, or when you're trying to import from another directory, instead of importing from the virtual environment or the whatever Python interpreter you're using, the environment, you have to use relative imports. And to do that, you have to create init py files, and then Python recognizes the files or folders as packages. But I was having an issue trying making it happen, because apparently when you do it like this, when you have relative imports, you can't run the file directly. You have to run the whole project instead through the terminal. And I didn't like that, so I decided to do this other way. I found a video of a guy explaining that if you put in the setups like here, and then you do pip install /e with a dot. So pip install /e dot, this command here. After you put this explanation here, then whatever modules you have here are gonna be like installed. I don't think they're on the virtual environment, but they start to be recognized by Python as global imports, and that way you can import them globally instead of relatively. And relative imports in Python is just putting a dot there before the import, or one dot or two dots, depending on the type of import you want. So this is what I'm at right now, and now I think I'm gonna start working on the extra CSS and extra JS. I'm gonna open the Ginger 2 graph. I think was this one that I was testing. Oh, yeah, I also changed the path here for all of them. Yeah, this was the one that I was testing, because I changed the name here at the end. And the graphs are being saved here. So this is on the color graph, Ginger 2 files. I'm not sure how to open them in Chrome. In using VS Code. Maybe the issue is if I open with live server, it's probably gonna be on the browser, on the Brave browser. Yeah, and I want to open it in Chrome. Oh yeah, I think I can run Flask as well to run this now, but I'm not really sure how to do it. I was watching a video. I think it was about was by Free Code Camp, and they teach you a little bit about Flask. So I was following the tutorial and building these files, and then the guy teaches you how to open the site to work. And the thing is, the last time I tested this was working, but it was really slow. So I'm not really sure what's going on. I'm not sure if it's working exactly like it's supposed to, or if there's a problem because I'm using the files instead of the link there. Maybe I should try to open this in PyCharm because it's easier. So my idea now is to figure out how to change these files, these extras.css and extra.js to add the features that I want to add to the visualization stuff. After I do that, then I think I'm gonna work on the 3 folder visualization stuff, which is another project that is inside of this whole project. I think this is the language hierarchy. And then I might work in the libvisualizer or libinspect, which are modules that Vivax did. He did the code, but there are some modules that don't work. The ones that include NumPy and stuff like that. I might work on that or might not, depending on how difficult it's gonna be. Because I don't want to build just this website, I want to build more websites. So let me see how many lines there is here. Yeah, the thing I don't understand about this is how is it possible? I guess it's from the template because these links are always the same because they come from the template. Pretty sure about that. So this code here shouldn't change uh, when you're saving different graphs, but if you put the options to add or not buttons, it changes. Oh, but I think, yeah, it changes because of I remember now. There is a code here in Jinja. Oh, I also changed this thing here. So instead of using the links, I figured out that in order for you to, because yeah, it hit me and it's so obvious, but I didn't think about this before. The way that the render method works in Jinja 2 is just that whatever you pass there as arguments is going to be replaced here by this whatever is in curly braces. So I think it's pretty much going to find the variables that you specify when you passed, and then it's going to replace with whatever value you passed when you have these curly braces here. And I think that's how it works. Well, here seems like it's showing a bunch of mistakes. That's weird. Maybe it's because the head's not closed. No head here. Or maybe it's because it thinks that is HTML and not Ginger. But here is not showing any mistakes. So there might be something wrong with this. If there is something wrong, then that's really weird because it was working before. I guess it's because it's expecting commas here instead of this. Yeah, it's a lot slower now. I'm not sure what's going on. It should be opening like that a lot faster. I think I'm gonna try to open in PyCharm instead. And pretty much what I need to do is figure out in this file here how to modify the network so it runs the stuff that I want it to run. Which I think might be hard, but it's not the part that I was worried about the most. I was worried about uh, uh, being able to find the code where everything is defined, and so I can change it. But now that I have the code, I think it might be just a lot easier because I can focus only on one file and test things within this file. I think this project. I think I'll be right back while this loads. I'll be right back. Yeah, I think there might be something wrong with this. This didn't load. Which is a bad sign. My idea is very simple. Going to build a simple front page with options, and that front page is going to contain the options for the script visualization, the folder tree, and I'm not sure. I think it's just going to be this shoe. Maybe the third one if I decide to improve that, which is the module, the import module visualizer stuff. And then I want to redesign the pages as well of the script, of the Vue.js visualization. So restyle the configuration of the things, of the physics and all of the stuff so it looks nicer. And also put up some search things. So basically I want to be able to make it as easy as possible to study any script and to visualize any folder tree. So pretty much selecting everything from the website and doing everything through that. Because now is a lot, it's not a lot of work, but some work if I want to visualize different things and I want to change things. So basically style the visualization or maybe change the inputs that I want to do. So I think I can do a lot with that. But in order to do that, it's going to be quite hard because I'm going to have to think about, I'm going to have to replace everything that is not a variable to a variable. So because I want everything to be dependent on the options in the template, the final template, which I'm not even sure if it's possible or not, to be honest, because you would have to change manually the nodes. But maybe I can do like something where I have the options dependent. I put them on variables and then I have them be equal to the inputs of the page. Yeah, obviously I don't have a lot of experience building sites, so it's gonna be hard for me, but I think it's gonna be good because I'm gonna learn a lot of stuff. And this is not opening, so if it takes a long time to open, I'm gonna do it with the normal way, with the original template that comes from Fives and see how fast it's loading, so I can compare the two. But it should be working fine. I don't see why it wouldn't be. Maybe I can try to activate through Flask as well. Yeah, that's the thing. It would have to, if I'm going to do like that, where everything depends on the options on the website, then I need to find a way to create two modes. One where first it searches for the graph in a database, if it already exists. And if it already exists, it displays that page. And if it doesn't exist, then it goes through the Fives and creates the nodes and stuff like that. Yeah, but then that's another thing because I would have to verify if it exists with the specific configuration as well. So maybe it's better to just create a standard database. That can be an idea where I have a bunch of standard graphs that are on the database. And then if you want something unique, you can just is created on the spot and is not stored on the database. Because if it is stored, then you'd probably take. I have to figure out a way. Also, I have to study SQL alchemy because I think that's what I'm gonna use, and I'm gonna move all the whatever I'm storing to an SQL alchemy database instead, just so it's more professional. That all of this also depends if I'm able to add the extra functionality or not. Because if I can't add it, then well, maybe I'll still do the site, but I won't put a lot more work into it because I think the really valuable stuff is gonna be once I'm able to put extra functionality and do the things that I wanna do. Because then I can make the potential is infinite basically. You can do whatever you want. So apparently there's no imports here. I don't think this works as import. Also, I have to check if this license and how it works. Because if I'm gonna make a website and put it to other people to use it, then might be it's probably important to understand better the licenses and what I can and cannot use. But it wouldn't make sense to me that I wouldn't be able to use it because yeah, it's kind of a weird thing actually. I think it's very complicated because anyone can build a code, whatever code they want. Like I don't necessarily. So if you wouldn't be able to use other people's code, then it would be impossible to create anything. It's kind of like with YouTube or other stuff like that, or any invention really. It's kind of complicated to know what the limits are because I do think people should be rewarded as well for the work they do. So it's kind of a tricky thing. I don't understand this part very well, and I don't understand why there is exclamation mark here. I assume this is JavaScript. Maybe I should search difference between JavaScript and TypeScript because I know that the project is also built with TypeScript, and I'm not sure how they relate to each other. JavaScript is the most popular programming language of HTML and web. JavaScript is an object-based scripting language led by history. 95. That's it. Open source pure object-oriented programming language. It is a strongly typed superset of JavaScript which compiles to plain JavaScript. JavaScript is developed and maintained by Microsoft under the Apache 2 license. Maybe I should search this license thing right now. I think a good portion. I'm not sure if I'm gonna stream everything of me doing this, because it's usually better to do this stuff when I can use the two monitors to work. So I might stream just parts of it and then show the final result. And then I think I'm gonna do more on stream the study of this job study. I want to study all these things here. Show me terms and condition. Um, this is a patch in the MIT. Do what you like with the software as long as you include the required notices. This permissive license contains a patent license from the contributors of the code. So it's pretty much open source. And MIT, I think, is very similar. Because the thing is, even if you can't use the code, I can just modify a bunch of stuff until it's not illegal anymore. So how do you reinforce that? Maybe I should watch a video, actually. It's probably better. Probably not gonna... But probably not gonna name the title of this video once I post to YouTube to building my first website, because I'm not doing anything.
All right, so let's get into
relationship to
the
that.
TypeScript versus JavaScript debate. So we're going to be going through the pros and cons of TypeScript and talking about whether it is worth to start including TypeScript in not only your personal projects, but also for larger scale projects. Is it worth it? And what does it add to the table? Now, I want to just answer that right off the bat. I think TypeScript is a long-term investment. It takes some time to learn. It also takes some time to add stuff to your code to add types. But after you do both of those things, you're going to start getting some really nice rewards from it. And I think these rewards are worth it. So in this video, we're going to be going through what you get for using TypeScript and also some of the drawbacks because of your using TypeScript that you should know about. All right, so let's jump into it. Let's start with the first pro, and that is with TypeScript, you're using a compiler to check your code, so you're going to start getting some warnings and some errors that are going to be caught for you. So what do I mean by that? So take a look at this code right here. I got to show you the most basic example. Everyone talks about this when you start using TypeScript. You have a function called add, and we have a number annotation for both parameters. And so what this means is if I call add with two numbers, it's going to be a-okay. But if I start adding a different type, so for example, I pass in a string as a parameter, TypeScript is going to tell me, hey, this needs to be a number, and you passed in a string and it's not a number. Now this might seem like a really simple example, but I think this pays off really nicely when you start adding more and more functions, more and more code to your code base, being able to refactor things very quickly and with confidence, and then being able to get a quick feedback loop. As soon as I type this, right, I immediately see that this is an error. I don't have to run my code, and that's a big plus. Now let's get into an example where I feel like this comes up a lot, at least in my code. So I have this function here called filename2language, and it has a file name as the first parameter. And then I come in, and later on, I might want to add a second parameter. Like maybe I also want to know the folder, which is a string. And I use that somewhere in this function. And we'll give this a save. Now everywhere in my code where I call filename2language, I need to make sure and update this, and then I'm passing in the second parameter. And so TypeScript will immediately tell me in my code, like, hey, you have an error in this file now. You're calling filename2language, and you only pass in a single parameter. And so that is immensely helpful to immediately know all over your project where are the problems with the change you just made. And because while this can be, if you're being very deliberate about it and this change is affecting places in your code, it's very easy to add something into your code that you didn't realize you were using in a certain way, and then the TypeScript compiler catches it for you and saves you from a gnarly bug. This has come up a ton of times for me, and so just the fact that I don't have to think as much, I can pass this on to the computer, and the computer can catch these bugs for me, is a huge win. And so here, we can delete that. We don't need it, and then we're all good over here now, right? All right, the other thing is not only is it helpful for catching bugs, but this is probably my favorite part of using TypeScript, and that is the auto completion and the auto import that you get from using it. So TypeScript works incredibly well with VS Code, and that's the editor that I'm using right here. So watch this beautifulness. So I'm going to get rid of all my imports up here, and I'm just writing my code here, and then I can just, hit command, period, and then I can import all of the things that are missing in this file, and bam, all my imports show up here. Like, this is such a nice feature to no longer have to write imports. I can also just import an individual one if you want to, but not having to type these out is absolutely amazing. So coming from JavaScript, where I would usually have to type these out, now and then VS Code was able to catch some of the imports and was able to do them for me, but the auto import feature has gotten like 100 times better when I've used TypeScript. It works a lot better, and so I'm able to just use it reliably, and it's amazing not having to type that out. Also, I can just do it like this, where I'm just typing code, and I'm like, I want the redirect function, and you can see once I hit enter here, it's not only going to autocomplete the word.
Yeah, so based on the extension, it should be JavaScript, the file. And I think this is a bad sign for this. Oh, I think I didn't run this. Oh, I understand now why it's not loading. I didn't run the script. This was built with the old stuff. That's why I'm having problems here. The path is still on Pyvis. So now let's run it again. Then. Where is it? Graph scripts. Ginger Chew. Let's pray it works. Obviously changed the file not on Pyvis. That's why I put it here. I think I'm gonna show it after this is done. Maybe I'll show it now. I'm not sure if it screws up the, probably not. So I imported settings here, which has the paths that I put here. Running low on storage. And then I use this file here to get the paths from the templates. And then I put these files on the templates folder, which is what's recommended to do in Flask projects. And then I passed these variables here to the render method. That way they're replaced there in the path at the end. Hopefully that's what I'm doing. And then also changed here in the self path. I put the path based on the templates on the extra.html, which is the file that I'm using for the templates. Which is pretty much based like this, but without the links and this stuff. So hopefully now it worked. Let's see, Ginger Shoe files. I think I'm gonna open with PyCharm because it's easier. Maybe I don't even need to open. So now the paths should be correct. Yeah, if this doesn't work, then not sure what I'm gonna do. Should be loading already. I think it might be because of the way that I did the paths. Maybe should hard code there instead of using settings. Yeah, I think this is because Windows does the thing the other way. I'm also using the absolute path. I'm pretty sure I tested this and it worked. So that should be the path. That is not correct. I'm not sure why though. Because maybe it has to be like this. Or maybe these have to be escaped. But it doesn't make sense. It should work for Windows. It's because it has to be relative to. I don't understand this really well. I'm pretty sure the problem is the path. I'm gonna change the path manually and see what happens. If it's too much work, then I'm just gonna hard code that. Leave it manually. It should be the path. Oh, the reason why it was working was probably because I was using the Flask. Hmm. I was using Flask to run, not doing like this. Because I think here what happens is it puts the path after the URL, and then you can't find the file. So maybe I should research how to load with Flask. We can just do Flask run. Yeah, but then it's just gonna show me, so I have to change the app file. I think it's supposed to be running here. Yeah. Part 5000. So now let me see. I'm gonna open the app file. Not sure if I should leave it like that or try to make it work whenever I just open the file and it's done. That's strange because I remember opening it and it did work somehow. So now I have to remember what have I done to make it work. Definitely has to be the path of the CSS and JS files. It's giving me 404, which I think is not found. Yeah. Static CSS, main CSS. So maybe it's trying to load things from this folder. I think I'm gonna run it again and see what happens. If it doesn't work, I'm gonna. Hmm. Template not found. Maybe it's because it's an HTML file. It should be a Ginger 2 template. That might be what's happening here. I think I'm gonna do it like this. I'm gonna change the thing manually here until it works. I'll probably use PyCharm instead. Then I'm gonna think about it because I have two options. One is to hardcode that in the PyVis file of the network, so it gives me the path that works every time, which is I think is a little bit risky because what if I change files or something changes? Then it doesn't seem like it's very robust, or that's the way that people do it. But this is really weird because I was 100% sure that it worked. So it has to be because I changed something with the path. Fail to load the source. And if I put like this, then once I manage to make this work, I'm gonna search for how to do this on Flask. How to render an HTML file on Flask. Yeah, that's super weird. If it doesn't work, I'm gonna look. I'm gonna search on the web how to put the path for another folder. It doesn't seem like it's gonna work. Yeah, this definitely is not gonna work. So let me see. So this file is here, inside of graphs, inside of script visualization. And the templates are at the root stuff. Was one directory backwards and starts there. So if I want to access from that file, yeah, obviously, but it would be a lot better if I could run it by opening the file or through Ginger, through Flask. So this, and from this tree here, it should be just slash. I have to go back to. So this is going back to from what the guy said. Oh, actually, it's three. One, two. I'm on script visualizer. Maybe if I do like this. And that would bring me back to the main thing. Then I access templates. And then extra.js. Oops. Let's see if this one works. But how do you find the root directory? If I just use the path, it's not gonna work. I have no idea what's going on here. It's so strange. Because I'm 100% positive that I tested this with the files on the templates and it worked. Yeah, but this is not gonna work. The other option would be to save these files in the same folder now. That's another thing I can do. But I want to think about the best solution, obviously. So I have 1, 2 levels until script, 3 levels until. I have to go three folders back and then 2 folders forward. And that's the problem with Windows, shitty Windows. Biggest issue here, whatever solution I find or I think about, I should think about how I'm gonna translate that to Jinja then. That's also one thing. And the thing is, I can't import the settings file, obviously, on HTML. Maybe I can do that with Ginger, but doesn't seem like it's gonna work as well. So I should figure out how to put this path. It should be working with. I don't understand why it doesn't work with the path only. The path from content root should work. If I just do like this. Yeah, because it's from the perspective of the file is not the correct path. I need to figure out how to go 3 levels above. Yeah, 1, 2, 3 to reach the main folder. And then templates and the. So how do I do that? Oh, maybe I have an idea. I'm gonna use settings.graph thing to see if it works or changes anything on this path here. Yeah, but it doesn't make sense. Because I would be taking this path and then adding. Then this doesn't make sense. Because if I put this path here, there, it's not gonna work. It's just gonna give me this path plus this, and the file doesn't exist there. I have no idea what's going on. I think there is low memory in the main thing, my computer. Yeah, that's the problem. I don't know how this thing keeps uh, increasing the memory, even though I'm not adding anything to it. It's just annoying. I think I'm gonna have to stop the stream here and figure this out because this stream is probably taking up memory and the main thing. And I'm also gonna figure out this off stream. Yeah, I'm gonna do this and then probably come back another time. So see ya.